everyone. Welcome to a very, very special edition of Wrestling with the Future. We have a returning guest, one of my favorite people. She is both loving and charming and a pain in the arse at the same time. My friend Babydoll, Nickla Roberts, is back with us for her third appearance on the show. This time, I've got a cast of characters, Nikki. You're going to love these guys. I have brand new co-host. You've never met him before. Dan the Man Sebastiano, who joins me every week. We call him the Happy Haberdasher. He's the smartest guy in the room, right next to the bearded sensation, Mr. Jason. Jason, say hi to Nickla Roberts.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you and an honor.
Jason, the bearded wonder, he is the brainchild behind our website, all of our technical shit. He's the go-to guru. Last time Nickla was on the show, Jeff was here. In fact, I gotta say, Jeff, we still think about you. He tried to get this woman. Now, here's 30 years later. He tried to get her to reveal what was in the envelope that Dusty Rhodes gave her. 30 years later, guys, and she still fucking kayfabed him. Nikki, how you doing, kid?
Well, I'm exhausted right now because we've got the garden going and canning, and I sent you pictures of everything that we've been doing.
I know. Tell these guys what you've been up to with this, like, canning fruit and jarring stuff. I didn't realize you were into all that.
Well, my husband and I have a small farm, and you know that we've got chickens and turkeys and dogs and cats, and unfortunately my goat passed away. I don't have a goat anymore. But I've got a big, huge garden, and then my father-in-law who lives down the road, he's also got a great big garden. So we've got, we spent 2 days canning green beans, like over 100 pints of green beans.
Oh, wow.
Probably 50 quarts. And so that's like you have to pick them, and then you snap them, and you string them, and
yeah.
And then we did 30 quarts of tomatoes. So
Oh my God.
I did most of the picking and almost all the snapping and stringing, and my father-in-law helped. He's got like double burners like that you do the cooking.
Right. Now, what are you going to do with all this stuff?
I'm sorry?
What are you going to do with all this stuff?
I watch YouTube videos because I'm from Texas, and my mom, who was really into like health conscious and bottled water before it was even cheap, water, did the yoga and the tennis. I never understood when she didn't get into canning, but now that I've been sweating in a carport like for 3 days, Lubbock has been 105 degrees.
Oh.
So I understand why she never took it up, because it is a lot of work, and it's really hot and sweaty. And
Yeah.
my mother-in-law, we kid because we said, "Yep, we're making memories," because you always hear about.
I should tell Jason and Dan. Nickla sent me pictures of this, jarring and canning and stuff that she's doing. She's got just like this row of just boxes with jars and and cans and stuff like that. Anyway, well, this is what she's been doing today. So now, Jason, I know that you secretly and I'm gonna let it out of the bag. So you're a grown man now. So I gotta tell you, Nikki, that's Jason was, when he was a little kid. He had a huge crush on you. He's not as old as he looks. He looks like, an old man, but he's just a young whippersnapper. Just a youngster here. And, he says, "Can I ask her anything?" I said, "Well, yeah. And if she doesn't want to answer it, she'll tell you to go fuck yourself." So go ahead. You got Babydoll. It's all yours.
Well, I wanted to ask you, how was it traveling during the time that you were, around? Did you have to travel alone? Did you travel with other women? Did you travel with the guys?
Whenever I was in Dallas, I traveled a lot by myself. Dina had a Corvette, and now that we kind of see the dark side of the ring, I feel that kind of life and everything. I now understand why I didn't go on road trips with him. I did travel a little bit with Uncle a little bit, and then Jake and I did some road trips together. It was really cool because it taught me a lot how to be a heel. And then whenever I went to Crockett and actually was able to be a heel, that everything that he taught me made sense. From going slow to just the look on your face to everything that I was with Babydoll. Jake pretty much taught me how to do riding through the Dallas. Now, whenever I worked with North Carolina with Tully and I took almost every road trip together. We were pretty much married up for a whole year because that was our gimmick. And we traveled together, and then we actually shared his apartment for, I believe, about 2.5 months whenever I first got there, because I didn't have anywhere to go, and it went with the gimmick and the whole thing. And then I got my own apartment, but Tully had his own life. Like once we were done going through the trip and everything, but Tully had a lot of girlfriends and a lot of girls. I was very popular, and I'm a lot more quiet. And plus, then I did a lot of driving. I just wanted to go back and sleep. So, traveling and stuff, it was Jake a lot in World Class, Tully in with Crockett, and then when we had the 30-day deal where Dusty won me because he had the 2-seater Mercedes and Magnum had the 2-seater Porsche. They rode together, so they put me with Sam, and so Sam drove me to all the towns when we were doing things. And then whenever I was with Dusty, I was pretty much by myself because he was riding with Magnum, but I had a 300ZX, and Sam and I were together then. So I didn't really make that many trips by myself, but I pretty much had someone with me. It was always one of the guys.
Okay.
Good, Dan.
Whenever I was working, there weren't any other girls. Like with World Class, the other girls were all baby faces. So that was the case.
Back in kayfabe, yeah.
And I was with Crockett. I was pretty much the only girl, except for when they brought in, like Precious came in, then she was with Jimmy Garden. They were married. And then Big Mama was with Jimmy Valiant. So there weren't any other girls.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danny.
Well, it's actually, you mentioned there not being a lot of women. I was going to ask, a lot of the, especially in the recent episodes we've done where we talked to a lot of the territory guys, everybody's got stories about who the go-to man was, who helped get the rooms, who was the guy making sure everybody got home from the bar. Did the women have that? Did you have kind of an elder statesman of sorts? It was you? Oh, okay.
I was really good because I took even though I was like a valet, I took my job very seriously. So not only was I taking care of everything at the building, I had the OAG, which was like the official airline guide. It had like once every 2 weeks. It came to my house. It was like every single airline flight for every airline. So you could go to the OAG and you could change your flight. And even though Crockett would get our ticket, I could get better times. And sometimes I could get cheaper flights and we'd get like little vouchers and get bumped up to first class. I would like have the rent-a-cars waiting so that while the guys were getting their bags, I would run downstairs and go to the rent-a-car and rent the car real quick and then be driving around and pick them up in the rent-a-car. I got the deals on the hotels, but I had it worked out because I was really good with getting a bunch of frequent flyer miles, and that they didn't want to mess with it, so I would get all their frequent flyer miles on my deal because they didn't want to mess with it, and if they didn't want to, why waste it? I took it. So
very clever.
Marriott, I got 2 TVs out of Marriott.
Oh, nice.
With Eastern Airlines, had like really good bonus, like a lot of miles. I at one time
Dan, can you hear her okay?
Honestly, you fade in and out a little bit.
Okay.
I was because I thought it was just me. Okay.
Is that better?
So far, yeah. So far, Nikki, sounds good. Nickla, did it help you or hurt you the fact that you weren't really like a drinker, partier kind of person? You know, did being the grown up in the room benefit you, or did it work against you? With a bunch of guys that like to party and play around.
Well, I think it was a benefit then because I had a lot more respect for the guys that way because they knew that I was to myself. I wasn't like the partier, so they kind of knew. And you just lose that respect, I think, at a certain point because you lose a lot of respect when someone's got to hold your hair back, and I'm not a drinker. And
Yeah.
also, I think I'm alive now because of that. Because you look at a lot of the girls that I work with, and a lot of their history, they're not here anymore. And
Sad but true.
Maybe being the nerdy, going back to my room and reading or watching TV and news and everything, it kind of saved my life.
Go ahead, Jason.
Any of the ladies today? Do you have any favorites? Anyone that kind of reminds you that the traditional athlete, traditional wrestler, anybody that stands out to you?
Absolutely, my daughter. And she traveled with me for probably 6 years and sold my merchandise and went on a lot of there for like 3 years. Every weekend I was booked somewhere around in the Carolinas and up and down the East Coast, and she did almost every show. She learned the respect of the dressing room. She learned the respect of like how you walk into the building, to dress nice, to present yourself, to command respect, and then she sold my merch so that she could kind of see how the interaction with the fans and everything. My daughter, I would put up on a pedestal because she really has an old school view of things, and she also has a respect of the boys because they saw her when she was like 14, 15 years old traveling with me, much like Kerry Morton, Ricky Morton.
Okay.
Well, and plus, let's be honest about it too. She's super talented.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, she worked her ass off to get where she. Nobody, and I'll say this, and I have no dog in the fight, but this kid worked her ass off to get where she is. She didn't, nobody called in favors for Samantha Starr. Let's make that real clear. I want to do something tonight, Dan and Jason, that I've been playing around with for the last couple of days because I knew that Nickla was coming on tonight, and I think we're going to start a new feature on the show inspired by this young lady. And we're going to call it Baby Got Book.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to have Babydoll, fantasy book, real angles, real wrestlers that are working and wrestling today. And I'm going to let you, Dan, and you, Jason, each pick a match to our booker. Pitch your match and sell it. Go for it.
I've got a few seconds to wait, Jason. You can go first.
I was thinking the same of you. Well, I've always been a fan of cage matches. So the big blue cage for the title. Title versus career, big blue cage.
You plan on having some wrestlers in that cage?
Oh, I thought she was. I'm sorry. I thought she was picking some. Okay.
No, you're picking the wrestlers.
I'm picking them. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Well, one of my current favorites. Let's do Randy Orton, and use what's going on here lately. Edge. Let's do a career versus the title match in the cage.
You know what I would like to see is like off the cuff, is actually Randy Orton working with Jake as a manager.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Living of the mind.
Yeah.
Oh, nice touch.
And you
I
Nice.
think that's one of the reasons why I like a lot of the stuff that Orton's doing these days. He reminds me a lot of Jake, especially his promos. That this cool. I mean, he's not out there screaming. He's not over the top. It's cool and calculated.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, too, to add on that, anybody that follows AEW, I mean, you think about the talent today, and Jake Roberts still has one of the best promos in the business by far. It's like not even close. So, you put seeing him in the ring with modern talent, and he smokes him on the mic, and it's still you can't ask for that kind of stuff. Well, I guess if I'm going to look at modern talent, personally, what one of the things that a lot of the stuff they do with how the titles change hands and heel face turns and all that. So I'm gonna say, as far as match angle goes, I did not like, and this was about a year or so ago, how they ended Kurt Angle's career. I thought they wasted that throwing him in the ring with Baron Corbin, who they admitted on screen was ratings cancer. And
Won't get an argument from me, Dan.
I'm thinking you have to build the next star off that angle, and you had the prototype there in someone who I think's horribly underutilized is a guy named Chad Gable. I personally would have had some kind of build for that. So that's my pitch: is build up WrestleMania, Angle losing to Chad Gable, who uses the ankle lock and the slams and the moveset and everything anyway. So kind of pass the torch there when you're basically passing the torch to a younger version of yourself.
How about if Tully managed my daughter because his daughter wasn't good enough?
Oh. Wow. I got one for you.
Uh-oh.
Real life scenario. Samantha Starr versus Jordan Grace. Book me a 3-month program that culminates in a fall to the finish match where there must be a winner. Somebody has to come out of it standing with their hands raised. Jordan Grace, Samantha Starr, 3-month program. What's the lead in and what's the build up?
There's so many different ways that you could do that. You could have Jordan keep getting Michaela, and then Michaela says, okay, I've tried to do this on my own. You're cheating. You're doing everything you can. I've got the ace up my sleeve, and then bring me in as her ace, and then have me at the very end not help her, but just be there for her, and then Michaela actually win because Jordan wasn't able to cheat.
Well, I love that. I love that, Nickla. But can I tell you, I kind of was hoping you would go with the cheating angle, because don't forget, Michaela, Samantha Starr is a heel.
She can do either one.
Well,
To bring me in, it could be the babyface way, or like Jordan could bring me in.
yeah, there's so many ways to go with that one. Yeah, I like that. So now, been following you around. I've been trolling you actually for the last week or so. You got a lot. All of a sudden, Babydoll is like the big thing again. You did our show. This is your 3rd time here. You did, Hannibal. I think you're doing another interview with Hannibal again, I believe.
I just did the one with him.
Well, maybe I let something out of the bag because I heard that you might be going back there. Okay. Well, if you end up going back there, you heard it from me first. So, yeah. So all of a sudden, like what's old is new again because of the wrestling scene now, Nickla, or the lack thereof. Really the lack thereof. All of a sudden, the old Crockett tapes, the old WCW tapes, the old NWA tapes, they're all, they are being seen now by a brand new audience of young people that never seen this stuff before. Are you getting any kind of either instant feedback or some kind of residual feedback as to what these matches mean to people? I mean, are you getting any kind of feedback on them personally?
WWE dropped the new catalog because all of a sudden they start coming up on my feeds and they're like, hey, do you remember like 20 or 30 years ago tonight? And things like so. I can always tell when WWE drops another bit of their catalog on that, which is really cool. And even though I don't make any money off of it because we signed the backs of our checks, we signed away our rights at the time, it pretty much makes me immortal. And I love it because I get a lot of emails from fans that tell me about, that they remember their grandparents, or even like with Jason, sitting on the couch and watching us and reliving that Saturday afternoon and actually like every single moment, like remember, oh my gosh, I remember that. And that is so cool because it was a golden time and it'll never be copied ever again.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, it will. You are absolutely right. It will never ever be duplicated again. However, in as much as I think that wrestling can be saved, is there anything that we can do to bring back the characters, Nikki, the characters in wrestling? Or is that passe now? Is that behind us?
I would like to say that it would happen, but I think it's gone and it can't be done. Because you've got the internet, you've got everybody that thinks that they're smart, everybody that wants to be smart. Nobody wants to actually believe it anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have really good heels. You don't have believable heels. You don't have, like, even like with TV shows, the guys are wanting to take pictures after the matches and post them on their Facebook and their Instagrams and like, what a great fight. We took it to war, and so they're all buddy at the end. And it's not like with Magnum and Tully where they actually disliked each other and you felt that dislike. Or like with Dusty and Flair, the animosity, even though that they were like really good buddies and good friends, there was an animosity like, okay, who's the better guy? Who can do the better promo? Who can have the better match? Who can do more hour Broadway? It was, I just don't feel it anymore. I do a lot of indie shows. I watch a lot of the shows now, and it's just different. And I think we just have to accept it that it's just different.
Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe that's just the old fart in me, but I don't understand what a young viewer is looking at. And I'm not being facetious. I don't know what they're seeing that I'm not.
Right.
Great.
Dan, you're a little bit more in touch with that demographic than I am. So what am I missing?
I really nothing. And Babydoll hit it on the head. Just this, I guess last week now, since it airs Wednesday.
Right.
NXT was having a big moment for Keith Lee. He's a double champ, which is something that's for some reason trending
Yeah.
throughout some of the companies during the COVID. But he's in the ring. He's got both belts. He's talking about this, great moment he has. And here comes the first title defense he's going to have. And the entire narrative was, we had great matches. I love you. I love you. We respect each other as competitors. Let's have another great match and tear the house down. And you can't get fans invested, even in a good match.
That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. And Nick, you can expand on this if you want to, and I want you to, believe me. When I see a Keith Lee who is a physical specimen,
right,
and I see a guy like Baron Corbin, or I see a guy like Buddy Murphy, that these are specimens, right, big guys. I want to see the visceral reaction of these two machismos.
Right.
I want to see, I'm going to rip your head off. I'm going to piss down your neck. I want to feel that animosity. Don't give me, high five gang, here, let's party on, Garth, that kind of bullshit.
It's kind of like,
Jason understands that one.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we've touched on that.
But here's the thing, though.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I would love to see the days of Tully and Dusty again. I would love to see. Remember when we had Magnum on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, give me Magnum TA, man.
Right. You felt that emotion.
McDaniel.
Yeah, well,
that's that, Jay.
I say Tully and Dusty and Magnum. You felt that. The interviews with Tully, you felt the hatred there. There's nothing here of the new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Magnum, and by the way, thank you to Babydoll for that one. She hooked me up with that. That only cost me $1,200, that one. No. No, it cost me dinner. No. Here's the thing. Understanding, though, that there was an emotional investment, that when Magnum came on television, you were emotionally invested. Whether you were invested because you loved him, because he was this big, good-looking guy, or you were invested in Tully because he was a rotten, evil son of a bitch. But whatever the case was, you had some kind of emotional tie, right? I can't get invested in anybody, Nickla. Why? What's missing?
Y'all see the picture, the little meme that's going around that had Crusher with the beer and the cigar, and then the side by side with the Young Bucks, and it's like, which would you believe is an actual?
Yeah.
That's like, but it looks like
there's a no-brainer.
It's just different. We just don't believe it anymore. Yes, you had matches, like 3 or 4 of the matches on the card were like, you knew that it was staged, you knew that the outcome was, but there might be 1 or 2 matches on that card that, damn it, that was real. They're fighting for real. But they're like Tully Blanchard. Tully says they may not believe the rest of the card, but they're going to believe my match was real, and they're going to believe that I. And I think that's what we're missing now, is that it's all entertainment now. And instead of like believing, that somebody's really going to get hurt and that they're really out there fighting and that they're really out there to win, we've lost it. It's gone.
Yeah. Dan, take the ball and run with it, kid.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. And we've talked about that so many times. And it's something I've said many times, because I got my start as a writer in the business, as a wrestling historian. So I saw the difference in the growing. And the problem is, even if, kayfabe is done. We know that genie's out of the bottle. You're never putting that back in. But even though it's not real, you can still present it as a valid product. And, the way the NWA did in Power, they have the announcers. I think it was Cornette at the time. And, I'm drawing a blank on the other one, but the announcers pitch it as a real fight, and the wrestlers act like it's a real fight. When I'm watching a match and they're taking 10 minutes to set up a spot and they're blatantly working together, that there's no suspension of disbelief. It kills the immersion. I get that you're not fighting for real. I can watch a Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express, and I get they're not fighting for real. But damn it, if those four didn't want to kill each other.
Exactly. Now, Dan,
Go ahead.
You were. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nickla.
That I think you're looking for the audience instead of and the keyboard warriors and whoever's going to put it out on the internet. Instead of looking for what's next week and to get them talking and to get people mad and get people pissed off and to actually get that part of your brain going of like, damn it, I gotta watch it. What are they gonna do next week? They're missing that. They're trying to please too many people instead of looking for how can I get it in that intrigue and that hook of getting them to come back next week.
Absolutely.
They're trying to make people happy, and it's not working.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, that's exactly how I was introduced to Crockett. I would go over to my grandparents' house on the weekends, and my grandfather's sitting there in his recliner watching, and he was just glued. And that was our time together. And I actually think he had more of the crush on you. I think that rubbed off on me through the years, but
pass that buck,
Jay, right?
yeah, just a little bit. But these days, I mean, I just did an episode on Cut a Promo on Tuesdays. Be sure to subscribe. Scathing review on this last pitiful WWE pay-per-view, the eye for an eye match. What is that? Who is that supposed to be catering to? Who is their audience anymore? It's not me. It's a bunch of BS. I mean,
that's a really good point, Jason, and forgive me for interrupting.
No.
You and Nickla, why don't you and Jason discuss that? Talk about that. Who is the audience now? Where is the audience now? That's the biggest question. Where the hell is the audience now? You know?
Numbers, because Oli had like a 7:30 spot for CBS at 7:30 in the morning. WWE had actually given him an hour time slot, and he had more viewers than what AWA has right now. And this was back in like 84, 85, something like that. So there were more viewers, but it's I don't know. And people tell me all the time that they couldn't run the angle where Dusty slapped me, or a lot of the stuff that I did, like the Magnum, that they couldn't do that today. Yes, you could do that today. You can't believe politically correct in professional wrestling. If you don't like what you're watching, then watch gymnastics. Wrestling has got to be edgy, and it's got to be toe that line of like, oh my God.
But Nickla, there's a fundamental difference, though. The fundamental difference, Nikki, between today and then wasn't really the political times. It was the fact that you, as a big girl, could kick ass.
Well,
And you could defend yourself.
Whenever I was working in 85 and 86, if any female ever had any more heat than what I did at that time in the history of pro wrestling.
Not that I know.
Because I would like to think I was at the pinnacle of having more heat than
If there was anybody that had more heat than you or more exposure than you, I don't know who they were. So my answer would be probably no to all the above questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be it's hands down that Babydoll had all the exposure, all the heat, all the notoriety for sure.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Dan.
Nobody's got any heat now. Everybody wants to sell merch. They don't want to be here.
Right.
I think that's missing in a lot of it.
I think something, and we've touched on it on this show before too, is you mentioned the Young Bucks is a great example, is you look at the talent today, anybody, I hate to say under the age of 30, but definitely under the age of like 25, like the ones who are the young guys now, they're in it for the fame and the money, and wrestling is a stepping stone because they want to be in movies, or they want to be an action star, they want to sell action figures or whatever. We've had people on that have hosted wrestling schools. They'll have 10 students and one is in it for the love of wrestling and the other 9 want to make a fortune. And you can't, I mean, Babydoll, you can vouch for this from the territory days. You'd have, you'd go to the doctor and you'd spend more at the doctor than you made the night before wrestling. And that, you weren't in it to make a killing or to be rich. You were in it for the love of the sport, and you don't have that today. And I think it shows with the product that these people are characters and they're going through the motions, and there's no real heart there because they're not in it for the love of wrestling. They're in it to try and make some money or to sell another T-shirt.
Okay, let her answer.
Exactly. It's a stepping stone. Instead of being a lifestyle and a way of life, it's just the next thing that they're going to do.
It's sad too. It's sad. We've had Hall of Fame trainer on the show, Doc Diamond, and Doc came on the show, Nickla, and told Dan and I something. We just shook our heads when he told us. He's got students coming into his school. They already have a gimmick in mind. They already have their finishing move in mind. They're in school for 2 or 3 weeks, and they already want Dan. Please tell me if I'm lying.
No,
they already want a belt. They already want a belt. Okay. First of all, okay, we're giving birth to marks. We're not giving birth to professional wrestlers anymore. The days of the Dick Murdochs and Ray Stevens and Harley Races, they're long gone. They're long gone.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, we're stuck with people, and I shudder to think of it, but we're stuck with a generation of Kenny Omegas and the Young Bucks and Sammy Guevara's and people like that. Thank God, though, Chris Jericho's still around, and but he's 50, so he's probably not going to be doing this for much longer.
Yeah, but Chris Jericho's going the other way. We thought when AEW brought in some of the veteran talent that he'd rub off on them. Chris Jericho's out there acting like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and fighting drones and
you know why?
Having feuds over champagne bottles.
You know why? It's simple. He's trying to adapt.
Yeah.
He's trying to adapt. Otherwise, and Nikki, correct me if I'm wrong, otherwise, doesn't Chris Jericho run the risk of being the old fart?
Yeah. That's sad. I didn't think about it that way. He'd look like the fossil in his own product.
That's my point. You see, it takes an old fart to understand this, all right? Now, go ahead, Jason. I'll shut up now.
Wow. That's good.
I was asked, the Washington Redskins cap, what do you think about now the Washington football team?
Washington football team. Yeah. Hopefully that'll just be a placeholder until they come up with something else.
I think
your old merch or Redskins merchandise going to be banned at the game.
You know, I my wife and I were just talking about that before when I was setting up to film. Is I said I would not be shocked because they said they're getting rid of all of it in the stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if they told fans, kind of like remember old school WWF, you weren't allowed to wear any WCW merchandise, and vice versa. I would not be surprised if they told fans you cannot have a Redskins logo or anything that says Redskins in the new stadium.
I got news for you, brother, and you marked my words, and I'm going to say it now so the whole world can hear me. You are not going to recognize organized sports in the next 3 years. You will not be able to. You will not be permitted into a stadium or a venue. I don't care if it's wrestling, boxing, football, baseball, lacrosse. It doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. You're not going to be permitted into a building with any kind of, quote, offensive, unquote, logo. And offensive is the discretion of, of the team.
Right.
The Philadelphia Phillies may find the New York Mets offensive. Okay. So there goes them shirts. There goes that merch. You're going to live in a sterile society with no color, with no personality, with no flavor, with nothing, with no life. A saltless, pepperless society with what used to be sport. There is no sport anymore.
Yeah.
What we're seeing right now, and okay, you opened it up, so I'm going to get on my fucking soapbox. Here we go.
This is all your fault, Jason.
I did a dramatic pause trying to think of a question.
You'll have all the time you want, Jason. Because I'm old, I need to get this out. I might forget it.
Okay.
So here's the thing, though. You're going to live in this a monotone society, for lack of a better word. Dan, is that a word, right? Monotone society?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, monotone, with no variation, with no exclamation, with no highs and lows. It's literally going to be Fahrenheit 451 all over again.
I asked because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Love you.
The only thing that will remain the same is that the Dallas Cowboys will continue to suck.
All right, Papa Bear, I'm out.
Go ahead, Jason. Now that I'm on Babydoll shit list.
And mine too now.
Yeah, but you got to put up with me. She don't have to.
That's right. Both Dan and I are from the Hampton Roads area, where a lot of your events happened. How did you like the area, or did you have a special area that you went to back in the day that you could say, "Oh, I really love going back to that city or that town"?
Where are you from? I didn't say.
Hampton Roads. We're both in Norfolk, Virginia.
I love going up there because you had Norfolk, Richmond. That meant that you'd be in the hotel for 2 nights and you could actually spread out your stuff and enjoy the room rather than just being there for 4 or 5 hours. Except for on race day, and then when NASCAR was in Richmond, then there was no hotels, and you were hoping that they'd take you a bank of rooms. I love the whole experience of it. From the first year that Tully and I worked together, we had 15 days off the whole year. So we just go, 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 go. I actually remember calling my mom from Norfolk, and she was like, "Well, where are you at?" And I'm saying, "I think I'm in Norfolk." And I said, "I had no idea where I was at." They told me to check the road, and we go. It was, for me, I drove a lot, I flew a lot. Anywhere that was close to Charlotte was really, really nice. But you'd be home that night. I just loved every bit of it. I feel like you had Baltimore, you get to go to Sabatino's. If you went to Philadelphia, you might be able to go to Atlantic City, and go gamble a little bit and then come back. You had your own little quirks. It was so much fun. It was just I couldn't tell you one thing.
Okay.
Dan, final questions from you?
Well, I was hoping, we were talking about this before you dialed in, on his most recent podcast, Jim Cornette was just sharing some stories.
Here we go. Yeah.
And he got to the story of knocking your teeth out. And I was wondering if you could share your side of that story.
It was Memphis, 3rd of July. We're doing the Great American Bachelor. And yes, I was green, and yes, I was excited, and yes, I made a lot of mistakes. But all of my stuff looked really, really good because it was real. And when he says that I hit him really hard, that is 100% the truth. Because I think it was a lot of the animosity because his promos were like brutal against me. He really made fun of me. And when you're like 22, 23 years old and you're being called a moose and, you know, like, I know I'm a big girl. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But it is like, geez, Jim, you know, lighten up a little bit. But it's so ridiculous. And then explosive the people were, and because I didn't actually know how to work, I wasn't trained, you know, I did him. And we were doing the deal where I was chasing him in the ring, and he had on all the elbow pads and knee pads and everything, and he turned to look to see where I was at, and I actually caught his elbow in my face.
Mm.
And I fell back, and I it was his elbow, or when I fell back, and I chipped my 2 top teeth and my bottom tooth, and I had to fly back to Charlotte and had the dentist come off the lake and fix my teeth, and they got them all bonded, and they're all good. But yeah, he actually chipped, like majorly chipped through my front teeth.
Wow.
Incredible. Well, I'll tell you what, young lady. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm gonna let you go a little early because I know you still have some canning to do. I know you got.
I've got to go put up chickens, and it's storming out quite a little bit. And I got to go to the semi.
Yeah.
Babies I got to go put away. But no,
yeah. Well, I figured I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and get out of here and do that. So, listen, thanks for joining us. We will definitely hit you up again. You're gonna get another phone call to come and join us. You know what? I want to bring you back for Wrestling Wives Part 2. Because we had Barb Goodish here, Karen McDaniel. I'd like to bring you back for that one. And we're going to have I found out we're going to have a surprise. If Dan and I can work it out, we're going to have a surprise dream. Hint, a dream guest. So
you might want to hit up is Jimmy Dahlian's ex-wife, Felicia, Big Mama.
Yeah, I know her. She's actually on my my friends list. I have her phone number too.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, you know what? We could do Big Mama, sure. Yeah, we could do that. You guys up for that? We'll do that.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Really interesting is Courtney, Holly Blanchard's ex-wife and Megan's wife.
Oh.
Yes. Courtney, absolutely, for sure. That's, you know what? The world of wrestling is a strange, interesting kind of family, isn't it? Yeah. It's almost dirty. It's almost incestuous.
Oh, no. All right, on that note.
On that note, Nikki, good night. Take care.
Up 2020.
You bet. Take care. Good night. That was interesting. I owed her another appearance. That's why she came on.
No, she's always the other episodes you had her on were great. Mm-hmm. She's always a good talk.
Well, here's the thing. She's always got something going on.
Yeah.
She's either putting the kids to bed or she's making something or she's canning or jarring something.
You had the one with her and her daughter, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, it could have been more fun, but I had a particular co-host on that show that didn't know his arse from a hole in the ground and knew shit about wrestling. I should have let him put his fucking clown mask on. He might have actually done something.
Yeah.
But I can't say his
I-
name, though, because if I did, that would be disparaging and that would be libelous.
Oh,
And that
no.
would, well, I can't say that.
He's
But
a friend-
anyway.
still a friend of the program, though. Friend of.
Yeah, we love him.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, what you said. Absolutely. Jason, talk to me about what's going on with our website. Tell everybody what's happening.
Well, it's still a work in progress. You'll be able to catch out the schedule of the shows. You'll be able to see clips of the various shows, be able to buy our awesome-looking Wrestling with the Future t-shirt. And just that's where you can go get all your information on the different podcasts that we have.
Fabulous.
Sounds great.
Go ahead, Dan. You have anything to add to that?
No, I've seen the prototype. It looks great. It's going to be, we're going to have everything consolidated. Just in the last few weeks, we've expanded the family. I know, and I mean that as both people and shows.
God,
The cut of promos have been fun. I haven't had a chance to see the one that you put up this week, but last week's was great. I'm currently in the editing process.
I'm liking the cut of promo show a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Still, it's still new to me. I'm still new to the family. Still new to the world of podcasting.
It's a growing process.
It is. This last show was definitely.
Remember, Jason, Jeff and I started this with two guys that didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We just said, you know what, we're going to do it just because people said we can't.
Right.
So fuck it. We're going to just throw caution to the wind and go. And look at us now, right?
It's definitely, the last episode is definitely interesting. That damn Extreme Rules PPV really got me going, so I had to say my piece about it.
That was
good.
Trash.
Absolutely.
Absolute trash.
Go ahead, Dan.
Definitely agree.
No, I'm saying it's actually funny. I'm in the process now of editing a Q&A video I did that'll be up this week. I made the decision to randomize the questions so that I wouldn't know in advance what they were going to be as I was reading them. And while, because Angela, we like the live, everything can happen. The problem is that when you randomize the questions, it goes from one topic to the next, and sometimes you want to go back. And, speaking of which, this thing I said 10 minutes ago, and
it bounces around.
Yeah. It was great for keeping me on my toes, but it made for some moments that I got to trim, where I sat for a second and was like, let me think. I've got, you got to take that stuff off the air. But I'll tell you, I love, I'm actually glad because I didn't know that was the topic. Because one of the questions I didn't get to was somebody asked me my thoughts on that pay-per-view. So, absolute trash.
Along those lines, and we might want to talk to Jason about this because he's the technical guru. Along those lines, and here's something we can actually ask our viewers to participate in. Would they be interested in seeing a live episode of Wrestling with the Future? So far, it's been live to tape, which is good because we can edit out. We have the leeway to edit out, mistakes if we want to. But then again, sometimes the spontaneity of like live stuff, and we know we've had those moments too.
Yes,
on this episode,
that they're priceless moments like that. So, I would love to be able to experiment with, with going live. I mean, what do you think, Dan? You up for?
Yeah, I mean, you
or does it scare you? Because it scares the shit out of me.
I mean, it is a frightening prospect. You could do a combination of both. Go live and / live to tape. Like say, get a couple people or one or two people you know of in advance, give them the number, and they can call into the show. But we don't know what they're going to ask us or what they're going to say.
That's another thing that I wanted to talk to everybody about. You know, and I say everybody, you and Jason and our viewers and listeners. We have 2 working phone lines for the show. We have numbers. I would love for people to be able to call in to the show. So far, we've not done that. We've taken, of course, email questions, and we've taken questions from, of course, Facebook and Twitter.
Right. Where I got the questions I answered from.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so that's one of our go-tos, but we've not really utilized the live call-in lines that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and Jason, why don't you just kind of like off camera when we go off the air, you and I can talk about that. But I want to put this out to our viewers and listeners. If you'd like to see us try something live or do call-in shows, give us some feedback. If there's enough interest in it, we'll certainly do it. And Dan, I want you to keep your eyeballs open for any kind of feedback you get.
Absolutely.
Okay. In the meantime, Jason, where can they find you at?
Right here every Tuesday, Bearded Sensation, host of Cut a Promo. No topic for next week yet. Still working on that, but stay tuned.
You'll have one before we leave tonight.
Okay, definitely.
You know me, brother. I always got something going on.
That's right.
Dan, how about you, brother? What you got going on?
Well, the show, you know us. We're on YouTube. We are on Facebook. Private group is Wrestling with the Future Podcast. We're on Instagram now at Wrestling with the Future. We're on Twitter at Wrestling Future. That's no G, Wrestling Future. Those reaching out to me, I can be found on Twitter at theman_WWTF, or you can reach me on my email at theman.wwtf@outlook.com. I've forgotten a couple of email questions the last couple of weeks. We are everywhere and everything. We continue to expand. Currently, we're over 130 channels, including 4 internationally. And anywhere you can hear it, listen to us anywhere that podcasts can be found.
Absolutely. That is just about it for us. And we got some surprises coming up. Next week, big week. Boy, I'm going to tell you what. I always love introducing the guests for next week. We've got 2 guys in one night that are going to make history for this show. One, because he is the most controversial name in professional wrestling. The other, because he's just controversial straight up. Mike Williams from the Sage of Quay and Mighty Mouth himself, Vince Russo, will be with us next week, next Tuesday. Then we've got Kenny Casanova, author, wrestling personality, DJ, MC, all around nice guy, and bon vivant, whatever you want to call him. He's a Renaissance man. Kenny Casanova will be with us on Thursday, on the 30th. Big news coming up for August. We have a special non-wrestling show coming up on August the 18th. Going to look back at the life and death and life again, we think, of the legendary Outlook. Don't give me that look, Daniel.
I didn't say anything.
You gave me the eyes. I know this. See, Jason, I already know him. It scares him that I know him already. I know him so well. The life, death, and life of Jesse James. And we're going to have Daniel Lowe on the show to talk about what happened to Jesse James. Did he survive his purported death? I don't know. We'll find out. It's almost like a soap opera. Tune in next time on As the World Turns.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, listen, it's been a great night. Short. Yes, sir.
One more thing. Hey, Dan,
Yes.
the weather's been very hot around here lately, and I need some help with my boys. Who can help me with that?
Well, it's funny that we had Babydoll on, somebody who spent her career taking care of her men, and here you can take care of your boys too. Actually, especially in the heat, anybody that knows that the boys get a little warm. You got to treat them nice, keep them shaved, keep them trim, and you can do that with our friends at manscaped.com. Use your promo code WrestlingFuture for 20% off any and free shipping of any purchase. They have their current specials running with the ball deodorizer, the freshness spray, and the famous lawnmower 3.0, which is the #1 rated product in male trimming. For taking care of your boys, you have promo code WrestlingFuture and 20% off at our friends at manscaped.com. And just remember, manscaped.com, your balls will thank you.
Will thank you. Absolutely. And so will we, by the way, with 20% off.
Indeed.
And our promo
Definitely.
code Wrestling Future. So on behalf of Jason the Bearded Sensation, Dan the Man Sebastiano, the smartest guy in the room, when I let him, I'm Psychic Medium Angelo. Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next time. Happy wrestling.
Good night.